We would especially like to welcome Sister Kathleen Neenan, former pupil, teacher and principal of Scoil Poll, who is principal of Scoil Poll, who is now Superior General of the Order of St. Paul the Apostle, who gave up her time and expense to be here for the launch. We would later again like to present Sister Kathleen with a signed copy of the book. Sister Kathleen, as you know, is not from the parish, but we would like to adopt her as one of our own. Now, Sister Kathleen, thank you.
Thank you very much, Seamus. I feel a bit nervous following Dr. Liam O Callaghan, past pupil, and after the what would I say, Father Hanley gave in church press, Father Hanley somewhere down there, the build-up. I was getting very nervous because my pages are very few. I must say that it is really an unexpected pleasure for me to be invited to the launch of this beautiful book, Pictorial Memories of Kilfinane, 1886 to 2012. As Seamus mentioned, I am not a native by birth, but Kilfinane has been part of my life, believe it or not, for half a century, since I came here as a boarder in 1962. So, thanks for the offer of adoption, Seamus, but I had already considered myself a Kilfinanite by immersion. Thank you very much to the Photographic Society for inviting me to do this launch, which I have never launched a book before, so I'm not too sure what's the right way to do it, but this is my way. This is a truly beautiful book which I have looked at in advance that will evoke many, many memories in all who peruse it. Now, I'm not saying read it because it's not the type of book that you'll take it up and you won't want to let it down and you'll be forced to come away from it and then you'll go back again and again and you'll see things you never saw the first time. So it really will evoke many, many memories. I suppose for many there'll be very happy memories, for others there'll be sad memories because there'll be, as was mentioned in church, there'll be memories of people who are no longer with us. But it will give you many, many hours of pleasure and I think maybe even a little bit of frustration because you'll be trying to think, who are they? And I know in lots of the groups, very many are identified, which is wonderful after such a long time, but you'll still be trying to find out the odd ones that you're trying to remember and think, oh, I remember such and such. And when you see people and events, you will be thinking of all the memories associated with them. I'm very fascinated by the amazing quality and the clarity of the photographs from as far back as the late 1880s. 1866, I think, maybe there was one, I think, from 1863. The quality is absolutely amazing, but when you think of it in those days, when people had their photographs taken, it was like posing for a portrait. And, you know, it was a very special occasion, and they're done so well and so beautiful. So they really are a real treasure to have. And of course, I myself recognise an awful lot of the people from the 1950s onwards. Now, I wasn't here in the 1950s, but I recognise many of my classmates and their parents and so on from previous years in photographs. So it was a great thrill for me to be locating people that I knew. And if you look closely enough, you might find one or two of myself. Another fascinating aspect is the number of clubs and societies that were flourishing in Kilfinane through the years. An amazing amount, and I suppose the amazing part of it was that they are all in photographs and that somebody had the foresight to take photographs and they're there. All of the clubs, most of them are flourishing today. I suppose the sad loss today is the famous show society, this show committee, which many of us enjoyed, particularly if you were a boarder in Kilfinane in those days and you were entering competitions. And then, of course, there was the field evening when we had a good look out the window of the primary school to see what was going on. So many of these societies and clubs are flourishing today, which is wonderful. There are many pictures of First Holy Communions, confirmations, weddings, class and school groups, family groups. But there are also many casual photographs that record the social history of the area. I know Liam was doing a much more historical angle and all those social things like all these drunkards and bad women and all these people that were around. But you'll see none of that in this book. So I think it's wonderful that in the pre-digital era, that somebody actually recorded things like saving the hay, milking the cow, going to the creamery, delivering the milk, gathering to pray at the well, the Corpus Christi procession, swimming in the river down at Powers, picnic on the rock, I'm not too sure where the rock is, and all of those social events that were very much part of the history of the time. And you will recognise the places and the people, and you really will enjoy looking at them. Great thanks is due to the Photographic Society, who thought up this idea, but also who went to an awful lot of trouble, as was mentioned earlier, in getting all these photographs and compiling them. But there's a great thanks due also to all the families who trusted the society with what must be family treasures. You know, those very old photographs, or photographs of people, you know, in different circumstances, different times, which you will never be able to capture again. So I think it's a great tribute to people and a great trust that this was for a good cause, that you gave your treasured family photographs to be reproduced in this book. So a big thank you to all who contributed in that way to the book. It is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'm not too sure who said it, but it is said. Well, many thousands of words will be said about the pictures in this book. And thousands of memories will be recalled. I think there are 200 pages, and there must surely be 900, yes, I was going to say there must be about 1,000 photographs, 900 and something photographs. So it's going to take you a long time to get through all of those. And if you only have a few words about every single photograph, you won't be long coming to 1,000. The occasion has brought back memories for me too, and meeting people that I haven't seen for a long time, but also when I am seated beside my illustrious past pupil here, Liam O Callaghan. We now live not too far apart from each other, Liam in Liverpool and I down in Birmingham, so we might meet at Crewe. Oh, that's a very well-known place. You know, I suppose it's two immigrants coming back, really, Liam, isn't it?
Well, immigrants of sorts.
Of sorts. So you will see that there's no telling where memories from this book will take you. So it is my great pleasure and privilege to officially launch this very beautiful book, which you and your families, whether at home or abroad, will definitely treasure. So I give you the Pictorial Memories of Kilfinane, 1886 to 2012, and may you enjoy it.
Thanks, sister.
Well, we heard the men speak eloquently earlier. I'm now joined by Adrian Wells, who printed the book. Adrian, you were impressed with the photos, obviously, that you saw.
It's not just about the images, it's about the care and attention that was put into bringing them together. The images individually tell a story that over a period of time how Kilfinane has developed, and the lads on the committee, the way they approached it and put those pictures together in an order that tell that story, that's what brings the whole book together, and that's what makes it seriously impressive.
I get the impression though that you sort of took a personal interest in this one, I'd say.
I do. If it had gone wrong, can you imagine living here? No, the lads approached me about March, and I sat down with them and I realised that they actually did know what they were talking about, and they needed guidance that I had from the experience as how to get it to the stage that we're at tonight, which is the launch of the book. And yes, we just certainly went the extra mile with it, but it's the type of book that anybody else would have gone the extra mile as well. It's very special.
Yeah, but I've seen other publications similar to this, and they're done on what I would consider, and excuse I'm the Philistine in me, they seem to be just A4 paper. This is a fairly glossy production.
Yes, the lads gave me an idea of what they were looking for. And obviously when you're producing a book such as this, there you have limitations with regards to budget. So we had an idea of where we were working, and then we combined what they wanted to achieve and what was achievable and found a happy medium, but took it to the very high end of that. So we always wanted to produce the highest quality journal we could.
And finally, Adrian, I presume how many of the photos are very, very old and antiquated. How much doctoring of those photos had you to do, or what do you actually do with them?
Well, we take the images, and the committee collated the images through various means. Some of them came through online, through Facebook, others were sent directly to them through emails, or they were given the originals. So when you're receiving something from Facebook, the way it's saved by its nature on Facebook means that unfortunately you can't make that image very, very large. But what we tried to avoid doing was retouching the pictures too much, because as soon as you start retouching something, you're altering it. An old picture from the 1800s is an old picture from the 1800s, and it should look accordingly. Obviously there was one or two areas that we took a bit of artistic license to improve them or whatever, but generally I would say 99% of them are as we received them, with a bit of sort of maybe lightening here and there, but certainly no major alterations.
Was there one photo that stood out for you?
Yeah, there were. Problem is, there were 900 odd ones. They all did. As I said earlier, the thing about the book is what Kilfinane was, where we are now, and where we're going to be in the future. It needed to be collated into a publication that people could save. I think it's just brilliant. So I couldn't pick a particular favourite.
Well, you certainly played your part there in a beautiful publication.
From my end, I'm only as good as the people I was working with, and every single one of them was a hero for Kilfinane producing that book.
Well, we've seen the man talking already and giving a magnificent lecture. Liam O Callaghan, must be the first time a Glenroe man got such an applause in Kilfinane, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, quite a rarity, I would imagine. Yeah, it was a great pleasure to be asked. A real honour to be asked, in fact. I'd done a couple of things before. I'd done something for the GEA. Last year they had a book launch as well, and I suppose once you get the name as being the local historian, the fact that I'm from a different parish, or a rival parish or whatever, didn't really matter, so it was great to be asked. Yeah.
But always glad to come back, of course, and of course it's your old alma mater. You spoke earlier, or you said earlier in the lecture, Liam, about around the 1840s, that you got most of your material, your archive material, from British archives.
Yes.
Do we not have any from that era, or very little?
Well, no, we'd have quite a bit, but most of it would be housed in Britain. There's lots of records to do with Ireland, but because Ireland was under British rule until 1922, some of it would be housed in Dublin in the National Archives. You'd have lots of stuff held locally in different parishes and in different libraries and so on, but the main governmental records are held in London. And what I quoted were official reports, which would have been in the public domain. So if the government held an inquiry into a specific issue, such as the operation of poor law or this operation of local government, or even down to the consumption of alcohol, the British compiled records and everything. They obviously extended that to Ireland as well, because firstly because Ireland was part of the UK, and secondly because Ireland was particularly troublesome, and they always wanted to compile certain statistics and observe certain trends there and base policy on that afterwards.
And how easy is it nowadays to source that material? I presume it's gone much easier with computers and whatever.
All those records, all the official reports have been digitised, and all the debates in the House of Commons are digitised as well. So I could research all of that from the comfort of my desk in England.
And the British obviously were great at keeping records from that era.
They were, yes. Particularly from the mid-19th century onwards. You'd kind of question the methods they were using prior to that, because obviously transport networks weren't all that sophisticated. So you'd wonder how they could possibly compile such detailed statistics, particularly with regard to the census, which before 1841 wouldn't have been very reliable, because there's big question marks about the reliability of the stuff they gathered. But from 1841, when you've got a very sophisticated transport network, very sophisticated communications, so you've got railroad, steam transport and all that, the gathering of information became a good deal easier. Yeah.
And your lecture, I thought, had a share of irony in it as well. Right. We were here, people were here last night, prime time, getting rid of the lone guard about to leave the place here. Yeah. But back in the 1840s, you had a huge number of RI seamen here.
Yeah, that's because it was a police district. And it was quite an unsettled district as well. So even though they would have been stationed in Kilfinane, their responsibility would have extended throughout the Kilfinane police district, which would have extended out to Glenroe, Ballyorgan and over towards Kilmallock. And obviously, again, because you had a potentially restless population who were politically active at different times, and the British held them in a fair degree of suspicion at different times, particularly at flashpoints around the Fenian insurgencies, around the land agitation. A large police force was actually needed, in their eyes, to keep the place peaceful, to stop rebellious activity and so on.
And to finish up, I suppose, you referred to this, the exodus from Kilfinane back in the mid-1800s, and unfortunately that's happening nowadays as well, isn't it, you know?
Well, the thing is, Seoirse, the more history, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And unfortunately we're going through a similar process again, where you've got this big existential economic and social crisis leading to depopulation, and emigration ultimately is a cancer in any society, and it's a real tragedy for a nation to lose its people in such a fashion.
Well, Liam, it was riveting to listen to you tonight. It was magnificent, and I do know everyone here were glued to your lecture. It was magnificent. I'm now joined by another member of the committee, Henry McCarthy. Henry, you can be a proud man tonight, a fabulous publication.
It was absolutely brilliant. I'm delighted and very proud Kilfinane man to be here and associated with this organisation, you know.
A labour of love, of course, but nonetheless a labour. It took a lot of work, I'd imagine.
It did. All the meetings were in my place, and I was delighted to give the facility, especially to the Kilfinane people that we owe so much to, you know.
I've asked a few people tonight, Henry, and they're quite reticent in answering me, or giving me an answer. Have you a particular favourite photo that's in the book tonight?
I have one, all right, and the boys joke to me about it. There was a funeral going in to the old cemetery, and it was one of the hussies, because we recognised, and the band were there, so it must be obviously a hussy funeral. And I'm actually in the photograph as a 12-year-old boy wearing a pair of Wiltons. And the boy said I was learning my trade very fast, watching my father. But my father wasn't in the photograph.
Yeah, well, I can see how that would be special to you. Obviously, the book will have a lot of memories for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, because a lot of them would have been lost and never again got. And it's absolutely brilliant. And thanks to the people that gave in the photographs, and thanks to you and everyone concerned, Seamus Ryan. I could go on and go on, you know.
Now joined by committee member Donny O'Sullivan. Donny, you enjoyed putting the book together.
It was very good. We had some great nights. Right. Great crack putting it together, like, you know.
And you pointed out a picture to me here, Donny. Bridget Hennessy?
Bridget Hennessy, yeah. And Dr. Cook, that'd be Judy's mother.
Yes.
Yeah. And Mrs. Farrell.
And Bridget Hennessy was what in Kilfinane?
She was Baroness one time.
And am I right, there's a photo of you in the book?
I should be in one. Well, there is somewhere.
With a chain of office on?
Well, I don't know if the chain's on or not, but...
Because you were the Baron of Kilfinane at one time?
One time too, yeah.
You succeeded Bridget Hennessy?
I did, right. Years later, like.
And there's another picture there of you delivering milk in Kilfinane?
Which I'd done for about 25 years, I'd say. Going on from door to door.
Obviously in cartons, Donny.
Yeah. No, in measures. Measuring it out.
And what did the measures come in?
Measure was a half pint. Right. And a half pint was 2 pennies.
Right.
For a half pint of milk.
And you'd have collected the milk where?
especially Tom Martin, like, and delivered it every day. And the summertime would come in, it was a pure joke, if you like. Right. Summertime, we used to have to go around twice a day because the milk wouldn't hold if we got sour the following day, like. So we must have had good summers at that time, like, the milk wouldn't hold.
But you obviously provided a great service as well.
Of course, yeah, but it's very annoying to have to go into a house.
Right.
And she might take a half pint of milk or a pint of milk in the day. Would you call in the morning? And, she'll be all right tonight.
Right. Oh, God.
You'll be calling twice for the half pint of milk.
Yeah, a prophet God.
I know, but it
was a tough job, I'd say, Donny, up early on, but you enjoyed it most times?
I enjoyed it, yeah.
I'm now joined by Secretary of the Committee, Hughie Murphy, and a man, from listening to the conversations earlier, Hughie, that's instrumental in starting out this project.
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of photos up on Facebook, and I just came up with the idea, and then we moved it about for a bit, you know, and then we put up on Facebook that we were going to do a book, and then people came on and gave us photographs, and so it was only for a week. There was a lot of photographs on Facebook. We to ask people could we use them, you know what I mean, especially families and things. So there was no problem. There was great response, and even today now there was people on from America and England. So how can they get the book?
Very good.
So,
and you get the photos in, Hughie, and how difficult then was it to pick the photos that would finally go into the publication? Well,
overall now up in the Facebook, like there was about 2,300 photos, you know, but there was a share of them then were paper clippings and things, you know, which wouldn't have been good enough for a book. And then there was a lot of other ones in. We'd say there could have been families with 6 or 7 photographs, so we tried to pick out 2 or 3. And then there was other ones, some families give us no photographs, but we still managed to get them people in other ones in it, you know. But we went through them, and we picked Donny and John O'Donnell and myself. We did a lot of it, and we brought it back to the committee, and went through them all, you know what I mean?
And was it all together now? You're a happy man tonight?
I'm very happy now tonight, and I like to grant people saying now tonight that we did a great job, but if people didn't give us the photographs, and you know, the ones that were up on Facebook, they were delighted that they were coming up, and there's people over in England and America and everything mad. In actual fact, the first photograph in the book came from a Jim Regan in America. You know, one of the first photographs. He'd have been some relation of Dan Grimes over, and he was the first. You'll see his name there. He was the first person to send the sponsors, first of all, and his first person to send his postage for the book.
All right, very good, very good. And I see in the back of it, Hughie, it's volume 1.
Volume 1,
We can take it that there will be a few more volumes?
We got photos now during the week, 1966, so we're starting up again now, but we'll take it handy now for the next few months, you know.
Well, heartiest congratulations, Hughie, on a fine publication and as well a great night. Where would we be without ladies on the committee? Grace and Joan, you're delighted with the night?
Absolutely, great night. Went off very well. Delighted.
You're walking away feverishly there in the background, Joan.
Everyone anyway, and everyone went home non-thirsty, so it's a good sign.
Did you enjoy putting the book together?
Oh, it was brilliant, yeah. Just seeing photographs of my own grandmother that I had never seen, so it was lovely, because we never had them photographs, and now we have them all, so hopefully there'll be another one now in a few years.
And I've had a quick look at it, Grace. The fascination I have is with the earlier photos, those black and white photos from years and years ago. You know?
I have a fascination with photographs anyway. I could spend all day looking at pictures, whether I know the people or was related to them or wasn't related to them. I just love all the old photos. But they're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And they were in such good condition as well. And people had looked after them, and of course, when the committee members took them off them, they were guaranteed to look after them for them, and everything was returned in perfect condition within a few days. So everyone was happy.
A beautiful present for anyone who visits Kilfinane, and a lasting legacy as well, of course.
Totally, a fantastic Christmas present, or a present for any occasion, really. You know, especially for expats, even, you know, who live abroad, and of course they love all that kind of stuff as well. So a lovely thing to have. Yeah.
Well, at the end of a truly memorable night. The beautiful publication, Pictorial Memories of Kilfinane from 1866 to 2012 has been launched. It will certainly be a bestseller and a truly beautiful book for all Kilfinane people to enjoy.